We only have this one planet, home to some 7 billion people, and just as many environmental and economic challenges. But our problems have solutions. And for 25 years, the Environmental Law and Policy Center has been making those solutions a reality in 9 pivotal Midwest states and Washington, D.C.
We always say, what's the better solution? How can we move to a cleaner energy system that works better for people, creates more jobs here, and avoids and reduces a lot of pollution? Good for jobs, good for economic growth, good for the environment. That's in our DNA, that's what we do.
The Midwest is really key to the national environmental discussion. We produce 25% of the global warming pollution in the nation right here in the Midwest.
We have the largest concentration of old coal plants here in the Midwest of anywhere in the country, and we're the nation's transportation crossroads.
So if we're going to solve climate change, the Midwest needs to see a carbon-constrained world not as a threat, but an opportunity.
We said from the very beginning, we believe that you can have environmental progress and economic growth together. That sustainability principle back in 1992 and 93 was relatively new.
At the time, there was this big blank space between Boston and San Francisco when it came to environmental advocacy. And I think a lot of the foundations that funded in the Midwest were frustrated that there wasn't a big muscular environmental group serving the Midwest the way there were on the coasts.
And one of our main agenda items was supporting and helping Chicago become a global city. And part of being a global city is being sustainable. It seemed like a new and exciting idea, and the result was a wonderful grant, which I'm very proud of.
From the very beginning, ELPC focused on the big picture energy and transportation policies, seizing opportunities to create lasting transformational solutions.
When we started ELPC, there was a proposal to build 4 outlying tollways. What that would have done would be to pull jobs, people, and business out of the city to the outlying area. And they were the antithesis of what we look at as good planning today. We sit here today and we look at downtown Chicago as a vibrant, active place. Corporate headquarters are coming here. Bright, young, talented people from around the Midwest and the country want to come and live in Chicago. We're pulling jobs, people, and business into the center of our metropolitan area. And had those tollways been built, it would have moved in exactly the opposite direction. We stopped 3 out of 4 of those tollways. We won a big court case in the U.S. District Court, and it became precedent that enabled us, working with our colleagues, to protect the Medeo National Tallgrass Prairie. That's a sort of big system change that we get involved with here. That's how we build case law, but that's also how we make a difference in the real world.
ELPC is working to repower the Midwest by crafting and enacting public policies to open up new markets for clean energy.
We saw wind power as an opportunity in the Midwest when it was just a glint in a few developers' eyes, and made it happen.
The Midwest is now a leader on wind power development. The original renewable portfolio standard we got done, that triggered a wind power boom here. Go back 15 years, there was about 600 megawatts of wind power in the Midwest. There's now about 30,000 megawatts in the Midwest and Great Plains. That's a breakthrough. That's a big deal. And as that policy drives markets, we're looking at that sort of acceleration coming now for solar energy. Panel efficiencies have gone up and the prices come down. When you put solar together with energy storage, that's a game changer.
ELPC is also working to protect our air, water, and public health.
Mercury pollution in the Great Lakes is a significant problem. And we know that about 60–65% of that comes from coal plants. And we said, let's do something about it. Let's develop a set of standards that require the companies that own coal plants to install modern pollution control equipment that will reduce the amount of mercury that will get emitted.
We had a big PR campaign to make sure that people understood why this was important. We stayed on the message that this was about children's health.
Protecting healthy, clean air and safe, clean drinking water It's environmental justice for all.
We won in the court of law, we won in the court of public opinion. And when all is said and done, Illinois adopted some of the best mercury pollution reduction standards in the country.
It was important we were able to pass this for Illinois, but then when it came time for the US EPA to pass a federal standard for mercury pollution, it was the model.
ELPC and community groups are successfully working together to shut down highly polluting coal plants.
This was a big community victory. This was a big environmental victory. Public health is better, and the environment's better for all of us.
Protecting and preserving the environment also means fighting for the natural places of the Midwest.
The Midwest has a lot of wonderful, special places. Places like the Savannah Prairie in northwest Illinois, the Medeowan National Tallgrass Prairie outside of Joliet, the Great Lakes where we live and we work and we play. These are wild, natural, special places. And the fact of the matter is they need protection.
ELPC got the call from the Nature Conservancy when the state of Illinois made plans for a new prison on the Savannah Prairie.
It was the largest remaining intact grassland in the Midwest and the longest, most pristine, undeveloped stretch of the entire upper Mississippi River system. And like so many towns in rural America, Savannah had been declining. The prison was going to provide a lot of jobs. It's just they cited it wrong.
ELPC's advocacy and public pressure ultimately compelled the governor to move the prison and preserve the Savannah Prairie.
It was a win-win for everybody.
Over the years, ELPC has scored some big wins. It stood up to Peabody Energy, the world's largest coal company, and demanded it pay for its environmental cleanup instead of using bankruptcy to pass on the mess to taxpayers. It successfully sued the EPA to make sure toxic algae in Lake Erie is cleaned up. And it protected dozens of special places, including the headwaters of the Mississippi River in Minnesota, the North Woods of Wisconsin, and the Saugatuck Dunes in Michigan, to name a few.
But we aren't resting on our laurels. We're really proud of what we've accomplished. We've had an amazing string of successes, and looking forward, there's going to be more.
At ELPC, the secret for success has always been simple. It's all about the talented people.
When you talk to people about ELPC, I think one of the greatest strengths is the staff who are here. This is a group of people enormously talented and dedicated.
I mean, the culture here is we play to win and get things done. I get to work with teams of people here who I like, who I respect, who in very different ways know how to make things happen and get things done.
They do it, I think, with a wonderful staff, with great discipline, with a complete devotion to doing a good job, and with emotion in the sense that there's passion, but not emotion that gets in the way of dealing with the facts.
And most important, ELPC has results. It thinks strategically, it's concerned about making things happen and not just talking about them. And an organization that's been around for 25 years and has the results that you've had is a pretty impressive organization.
It gives me great pleasure to see its success. Makes me feel good about devoting some of my time and some of my resources to support something that I believe in so deeply.
The work that we do will hopefully have impacts for generations to come, and that is enormously gratifying when you work on it every day.